Hello, this recorded presentation provides a brief and mandatory introduction to Rubin Observatory's Data Preview 0 for all delegates. The Rubin Observatory is currently under construction, but once complete, it will execute the Legacy Survey of Space and Time, the LSST, a 10-year survey of the southern sky in 6 filters. The LSST will cover about a third of the visible sky each night and revisit patches of the sky between 100 and 1,000 times over 10 years, creating a data set of unprecedented volume and complexity containing billions of stars and galaxies and millions of supernovae and solar system objects. It will not be possible for users to download the LSST dataset. Scientists will need a venue for next to the data analysis, and the Rubin Science Platform, or RSP, exists to fill this need. The RSP is a set of integrated web-based applications and services running at the Rubin Observatory Data Access Centers. The RSP includes tools to query, visualize, subset, and analyze the full LSST data archives in a stable software environment located next to the data, along with storage space, compute resources, and remote access options. The purpose of the Rubin data previews are to help scientists and students learn to use the Rubin Science Platform and prepare for the novel LSST dataset. Data Preview 0 is the first of 3 planned data previews and is based on simulated data, whereas Data Previews 1 and 2 will use real data from LSST commissioning. Data Preview 0 itself has 2 phases, the second of which, DP0.2, began in July 2022 and is based on simulated images that have been processed by Rubin Observatory staff using a recent version of the LSST science pipelines. These simulated images were generated by the Dark Energy Science Collaboration as a part of their Data Challenge 2, or DC2, and a paper fully describing the simulation is available on the archive. These images simulate 6 years of the LSST main survey over 300 square degrees. They contain simulated galaxies with large-scale structure and type 1a supernovae, and stars, about 10% of which are variable. The DP0.2 data products are similar to a future annual data release and include process visit images, deep coads, and difference images, along with catalog data of detections, measurements, and forced photometry. The DP0 dataset is accessible to delegates by an early version of the Rubin Science Platform, but it is very important to note that both the Rubin Science Platform, the LSST Science Pipelines, and all of the associated support resources are in active development. Code that you will write now will require maintenance and updates over the next few years. The DP0 era RSP offers limited functionality compared to the operations era, as this is truly a preview of what's to come. There remain some risks inherent in using the DP0 era RSP, which we will review in the next slide. Your use of and feedback on the RSP will be used to guide future development, and we encourage the submission of questions and bug reports, but ask for some patience as our capacity to provide support is still growing. As the RSP undergoes regular updates during DP0, it is safest to always save and shut down notebooks and log out of the RSP when you're done working for the day. This is important to reserve resources for other users and to ensure that you re-enter the RSP in a known state every time. RSP sessions will be automatically shut down after 5 days of inactivity or after 25 days total. Bulk downloads from the RSP are not supported for Data Preview 0. RSP users may do science and undertake investigations that otherwise further the mission of the observatory, but will lose access if they misuse our resources, interfere with other users, or otherwise do anything that would bring the observatory into disrepute. In the notebook aspect, be aware of the different storage spaces in the file system, namely home, scratch, and project as listed here, and use them appropriately. And finally, a notice for advanced users that in the notebook aspect, when using the data access interface called the butler, be aware that there are no global write or delete restrictions. There is overwrite protection, but the best way to avoid disaster is to write only to your own named collections. The term DP0 delegate is used a lot, and it refers to a scientist or student who is given an account in the RSP, via which they can access the DP0 dataset. The term reflects their role of representing the broad science community as learners, testers, and providers of feedback, and of sharing the benefits of their DP0 participation with their communities as teachers and colleagues. The total number of delegates is limited to 600 because the Rubin pre-operations team has a limited ability to provide support for services that are still in development. Rubin Observatory will continue to scale up the number of RSP users in a safe and sustainable way, until at least by the time of operations, everyone with Rubin data rights who wants an RSP account will be able to get one. There are very few expectations for DP0 delegates, only to be aware of the risks we just covered and to use your RSP accounts in some way, along with the documentation and tutorials that you find useful to you, and to please report bugs and issues when you encounter them. In addition to that, there's a wide variety of optional things to do, any of which constitute participating in DP0. For example, working through the tutorials or doing science at your own pace, completing feedback surveys when they're circulated, submitting bug reports, discussing topics in the community forum, testing new RSP features as they're announced, attending DP0 related virtual seminars, sharing work in the delegate contributions DP02 repository of the Rubin DP0 GitHub organization, presenting DP0 related work at your institution or at workshops, raising issues to the users committee, or joining an LSST science collaboration. More information is provided in the delegate homepage in the DP0.2 documentation at dp0-2.lsst.io or at lsst.org/scientists. And speaking of DP0.2 documentation, I just want to give you a quick tour of where to find information. So if you go to dp0-2.lsst.io, you will land on this page. All of those resources for DP0 delegates that I talked about before are all available here in the delegate homepage. Information about the DP0.2 data products are available in the DP0.2 data products definitions document, which if you go to, you'll find information about the different types of images that are available, the different types of catalogs that are available, and importantly, there's a schema browser there so you can see what the columns are in those catalogs and thus learn how to use them. Also, from this main page, you can access those risks that we just talked about. And probably most useful to new delegates is the information about the Rubin Science platform, how to log in, an introduction to the basic functionality of the portal aspect and how to use it, and similarly for the notebook aspect. So if you, for example, you're interested in the notebook aspect and you went to this page, you'd have step-by-step instructions for how to log in, what to choose at the various pages that are presented to you after you log in, and how to use the various functionality in the Jupyter Lab environment. Lastly, from the main page at dp0-2.lsst.io are the tutorials. Here you will find tutorials for the portal aspect with step-by-step instructions and screenshots for what you should see as you do queries, as you retrieve data, make plots, and adjust the plot parameters. There are also notebook tutorials, which are available in your home directory in the notebook aspect, which I'll show you how to access right at the end of this talk. Okay, so that's the documentation that you have available to you. And as you participate in DP0, you will likely have questions or issues, and there are two main venues for reporting or for asking questions, the community forum and GitHub. We tend to use the community forum more for questions about the scientific applications of the RSP's functionality or the DP0 dataset, because those types of questions could be answered either by Rubin staff or other delegates. We tend to use the GitHub issues more for persistent technical issues or software bug reports, things that can only really be addressed by Rubin staff. I will quickly show you each of these venues now. So if you go to community.lsst.org, this is your landing page, and no matter where you navigate to within the community forum, clicking on the logo here at upper left will always take you back to the main page. One of the first things to do as a new DP0 delegate is to add the /G up here and go to the page with all of the groups and make sure that you've joined the DP0 delegates group. That will help you stay informed about various things that happen with Data Preview 0. The second most important thing to know about the forum for delegates is here in the support category. There's a Data Preview 0 dedicated support category, which if I click on it, you can see here various topics, all of which are questions that have been raised by delegates about their DP0.2 activities. So if you came here and you had a science application question, you come to this category, you click on new topic, you get the pop-up window where you can write a title, tell us a little bit about your question here. You can copy paste in code snippets or screenshots, anything like that that's helpful, and click Create Topic, and we'll see your question and be able to help you that way. In addition to the community forum, it's GitHub Issues. That is another way to submit issues and bug reports. So you would navigate to github.com/ruben-dp0, and you would land here. You can choose the support repository here, and there's a couple of instructions about how to submit bug reports or issues. And the way you do it is you go to the Issues tab that's here in this menu bar. You say, yes, I'd like to submit a new issue. This is where you can choose between bug report or feature request, so something that would really help you out in the Ruben Science platform if you have an idea or something that you need in order to do your analysis. Either one that you choose, we'll choose bug report here to get started, will give you a template. So you'd put in a little title here that explains the bug that you found, and then you can delete some of this stock text that's here and tell us a little bit about the bug that you found, and just fill in all of these parts here. And then you would click Submit the New Issue, and this issue would be seen by Ruben staff and addressed. So those are the two main support mechanisms for science and technical issues. There's also support should you experience or witness any violations of our code of conduct. If this happens in the community forum, you flag the post and moderators will deal with it. If it happens in another venue, please reach out to Sandrine Thomas, one of the Ruben Observatory workplace culture advocates, whose contact information is available at the webpage linked here. So at this point, new delegates are ready to log into the RSP. You must have accepted the invitation sent by email to join the delegates team of the Ruben-DP0 GitHub organization in order to log in. If you have, you navigate to the URL data.lsst.cloud and click on either the portal or the notebook aspects. You use the instructions that we reviewed in the documentation at DP0.2 to know what to do once you log in. And note that on the first time you do log in, you will encounter this page, and you have to click the green button to authorize LSST-SQRE to use your GitHub account to confirm that you may access the RSP. So if you selected the portal, you would see this query interface. And you can find all the instructions and how to make queries and how to submit them in the DP0-2 documentation. If, on the other hand, you selected the notebook aspect, you would be asked to select an image and server size. You'd always choose the recommended image and the medium server size to start. And then after you did that, you would arrive at this Jupyter Lab interface. From here, the way to get started, or one of the easiest ways to get started, is to navigate into the notebooks directory and then into your tutorial notebooks directory and start with notebook number 1. I'm just double clicking in this left-hand menu and it's going to open number 1 and away you go. So thank you for watching and participating in Ruben Observatory's Data Preview 0. I'll leave you with this final slide of useful links.